Um, aren't those cute? So these are little modest bathing suits for summer. It's about what I wear now, or bigger. But yeah, so these are really easy, and we're going to also make some little flip flops today. And if you got my email today, we're going to make the bathing suit. Will be made out of a 6-inch sheet of paper, and the flip flops. If you have time, if you don't have time, I'll give you time. These are 1.5 inches by 3.5 inches. That's 2 sheets for the flip flops. They're just really easy. If you don't have them, you can fold them out of a strip. You have to take basically, if you cut your paper in half, for if you're going to do a big pair, at least cut them in half, or even not quite thirds. That'd be too skinny too. But let's say you wanted to make a pair out of the 6-inch, but you just need to cut off. I'd say that's 2.5 inches. So make a 2.5-inch cut. Do 2 of those, or you can go real small to fit your bathing suit. I made really tiny ones, which you can really, depending on the size of the strip that you have, will determine the size of your shoe or your little sandals. So the first thing we're going to do.
Karen, what was the length of the strips? I'm sorry.
Oh, sure, no problem. 3.5. I hope that's 3.5. It doesn't look like it to me. It looks, 3.5 by 1.5. That's the length of the strip.
Great, thank you.
Sure, you're welcome. It's kind of funny because I'm thinking at this, and I must have cut these a little. No, it's 3.5. It's teasing my eye, and it could be 2 inches by 4 inches. It could be so it's kind of a basically a 1:3 ratio, kind of like what a dollar bill is. How it's proportioned. That's how you're going to proportion that. So whatever size you make it, you would do it in that size. So I'll mute everybody if you could. Here we go. So let's get started folding, and it's really easy. If you have some glue, a little bit of glue is handy because to get these little guys parts to lie flat, you'll need a little bit of glue if you have it. So if you don't, that's okay. At least I want you to know how to fold these cute little summer outfits. So the way that you fold the swimsuit is if you have a pattern, your pattern is going to be facing down when you start folding. So I'm going to just fold it in half in one direction and open it up, and I'm going to fold it in half in the other direction. So what I'm going to do now is take the folded, just leave this folded, and I have the folded edge facing me. And I'm going to take this bottom edge, and I'm going to fold it right to meet this crease right here on this. And that's just going to fold it right to meet the crease. And you'll see everything should just line up, your top edge. Everything needs to line up. Top edge here, this edge. So basically that's going toward that center crease. You can see it right there, okay? Take the second piece or the right side and fold that towards the center. And just kind of, there we go, like that. And now what we need to do is we're going to fold this part, or actually this part. I'm going to take this whole thing, and what I'm going to do is just take the whole thing that I just folded, and I'm bringing over, so using this as the pivot point. Actually, it's not the pivot. This is not the pivot point. What I want to do, I was trying to figure this out when I saw the diagram, and as far as to try to describe this. But what you want to do is you want to take this folded edge that's right here, this folded edge. I'm going to bring it all the way over to meet this diagonal side. And once I match that, then I can crease. Okay. You can do that. We're going to do that on the other side, but I'm going to fold this part that's there's a crease already here. I'm just going to fold that on the crease that's there. It's already existing, folding it back. And sometimes you got to kind of play with it because the bottom wants to open up again. There we are, like that. So I'm going to do it again. So on this side, same thing. Let me just unfold that so you can kind of see what we're doing. Go back to where I was. There we are. So I'm going to go back to where I was just because I want you to be able to do the same move. So we have everything unfolded, or back to this place here. So I'm going to take this folded edge. I'm going to bring it all the way over just to meet and lay right on top of that edge, and I'm going to line it up, and then I'm going to crease. I'm going to fold this layer back on the existing crease. I'm not making a new one. And then I could take this piece, and I'm going to go back to where it was, just folding it back. So you've got this, basically what you have is this little, it's kind of like a interesting little reverse base. Now I'm going to just kind of fold that a little bit here. So I'm hoping that you got that. I can do it again because I felt like I maybe have gone too fast. But so let's say we are here and we fold our corners. So this is all can just be refolded so you can just kind of see it in action. Okay, so I've got my little corners folded. And now I'm going to take this one, the one here, and I'm going to fold it. And I've even got a line I can use as a guide. If I unfold them both, I've got this diagonal line I can use also. So if I could bring that over and to lay this edge on that diagonal line and then crease, you can get the same thing. And then I'm just going to take this and fold it back. I'm going to do the same thing on this side, but now I have this is already folded. So I'm going to take this part here, I'm going to bring it over to lay right on top of that, and then I crease, and now I could take this top layer and fold it back. Okay, so now that's what I have now. So the next part is we're going to just fold these little top corners, and I really don't know, I guess it's about an inch. You need about an inch if I were to take a ruler. It's about an inch from here to here, but I really just sort of eyeball it. Or I really haven't tried this, but I'm wondering by using that as a guide, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to fold about, maybe even less than an inch, maybe a 3/4 inch. I'm going to fold this, and I want this top edge to line up right over this side. I'm going to do this on both sides. So I just made a little corner. Same thing, I'm just going to make it match. I'm folding and I'm laying this side is just going to laying right on top of that. Right on top. Then you know you've got it, and just making sure that these two are at the same distance. So I'm going to crease that really well. That's important to have that nice crease. Okay. Now I'm just going to unfold those. And then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take that little folding point right there. That's going to be where I'm going to start this fold. I'm going to take just this top layer, this little top part here, and I'm going to fold it at an angle towards the center using this, and I'm actually going to overlap a little bit. I don't know if you can see that. Maybe I have too dark a paper, but hopefully you can see. I'm going to just make a crease right here at this angle. So I've got this going here. This lays over the center about 1/4 inch. And I'm going to do the same exact thing on this side. I'm going to take, using that as my starting point, right in that, where this little collar or whatever that little fold is, right in that intersection. That's where I start the creasing. And I'm going to bring it over so that it lays over, and just like this one, a little bit over. And if you can see, it kind of lays over a little bit. Just maybe I might have to do one in a patterned one or a solid one just to show you. Now, if you turn it over, so you see you have your bottom of the bathing suit here, you have your waistline, and now these little triangles that you made, you're going to take them and you're going to fold them down, like just kind of fold them down at that top edge, just to get you started with the next step. So we're folding those down, and now what we're going to do is insert our finger in one side, and it's going to flatten. It actually is not a new crease, but you're opening it up and just flattening it right on top. That is one cup there. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to push my finger inside and then flatten everything, not making a new crease. I'm just flattening. That is the bathing suit. Isn't that fun? And now what happens is it tends to want to pop up everywhere. So the best thing is just to take a tiny bit of glue. You don't need much, just enough to kind of just to tack that down. I'm pressing these little cute little cups. And if there's other little parts that want to pop up, just a little bit of glue. A little bit of white glue is probably easier than a glue stick because white glue will hold nicely. Now I see that these little cups want to also pop up there, so I'm going to just put them on a little glue underneath. And now I've got, this will stay. Once now it's going to stay. And then when I turn it over, I can choose to put a little glue on these little flaps on these little sides. So I'll go ahead and just put a little glue on these little flaps. Just anywhere where you want to secure the paper. That's that side, so that's glued down. And then I think I can leave it like open like this, or I can glue also just a little secure, just if I want. I don't need to, but I kind of want to do it because if I want to put this on a card or something, I want it to lay flat. Okay, good. So we've got that. And now the little shoes, they're so cute. You start out with the shoes. Let me grab I have my little cheat sheet. Sometimes I need. All right, so you start with the color side up, or the color that you want dominant side up. And I think I'm going to make this blue side. It's going to be my dominant side. So you take this and you fold the strip in half, and you can do this at the same time so your shoes are the same size. So fold your pieces of paper. Oops, there we go. I want the blue side up. Fold them in half, your strips, and then cupboard fold both of them to the center. Now, one side should be more narrow than the other, and I'll explain that in a sec. So just cupboard fold to the center on both of these. Here we are. And then what I like to do is make one more narrow than the other. One side is going to be more narrow. So how I do that is I'm just going to pinch. I'm going to kind of bring this one end. I'm going to just pinch it, recrease it, and just to narrow it a little bit. I don't know if you see it, but a little bit of this overlaps and that doesn't. This helps with believe me, it helps. So I just basically pick it up and drag it a little and recrease. And so it's a little bit more narrow on these ends right here. Just a little bit. It's only a hair, but it's going to make a difference. So let's go. So if you turn your narrow ends towards you, you're going to create little this is going to be the little straps on your sandals. So you're going to just make a little fold, kind of at an angle, and it's up to you how big you want that angle. I'm just going to do one that's like kind of like this. It's about, it's got a little bit of a flare to it. You can decide how wide you want that to be. But there it is. So it looks like that. This reminds me of the t-shirts we made, kind of the collars, but you're going to do this on both of them and try to make them as the same if you can, the same distance, as much as possible. Like this one looks a little longer, but and a little wider. But on a small piece of paper, you're kind of, so see how much longer that is? So I'm going to make sure that either I make this one longer or I make this one shorter. But you want them to be you want them to look symmetrical because they are shoes and you want them to be the same size. So now my little corners are about the same length. And what we're going to do is we're going to fold them backwards, and we're going to do the same thing on the, we're going to go on this, we want to basically fold these into thirds. So you want to find, let's say this will be 1/3, this part's 1/3, and the top part's 1/3. So you don't really need to measure, but kind of with an eyeball, with your eyes, measure. Do the same size on your other strip. And I usually compare them like this. I just hold them next to each other. And when I made my first fold, I'm just going to match my second fold to pretty much match the other one, so that my shoes will be the same size. So this is almost there. We're almost there. So now we're going to take this piece that's remaining and we're going to fold it over that top edge. We're just going to give it a nice crease. We're going to do that on both sides. Just fold that top edge over the straps. And the crease is really important right now. Give that a nice crease. And then what you're going to do is take that edge and you're going to tuck it in. And this is where You want to, that's why the narrow edge is really important. We're tucking it in. This is a little tricky depending on the kind of paper you have, but you want to slide this into the top part of the shoe. And it can take a little finagling, but there you go. I'm sliding it in. I'm going to keep going until it lays flat. There we go. So now I have it slid in. There's one. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm taking that narrow edge and I need to tuck it into this pocket. This is sort of a pocket here. This little, where that little collar shape is, or your straps for your shoe. You just kind of bend it a little bit and get those little corners inside the little straps and then slide it in so that it just slides until it gets, till those creases have been, you don't want to make new creases, you're just sliding them in. So that is, and now the only thing we need to do to finish these is to fold these little corners backwards. Just tiny little corners go backwards, kind of just a little tiny bit of a corner, which will round out the shoe and give it more of a, real look. And you could make your shoes more narrow by making a more narrow strip, longer by making a longer strip. It's just they're very customizable. So there's one little, that's for it's a wide foot. And then I'm going to just fold these little guys back, the corners, all four corners. A bone folder is helpful. It's not necessary to glue, but you can just get those corners folded back. And now I've got my little flip-flops and my bathing suit, and I'm ready to go run in the beach. Now, I did prepare a card, and I'm going to grab it real quick because I wanted you to kind of see what I was thinking about, what you could do with it. Actually, I prepared the card, and it was sort of drying, and it was pressing in my little press thing. So I have a card. I actually just did a little watercolor wash, and I thought it would be so cute to maybe put them here, like just using a sticker, and maybe I'll write summer fun or let's go to the beach. So you can make a story out of this, or I could put this in a journal. I think it'd be fun too.